Intuition, superstition, premonition, yep. Sensing, knowing something's flowing to make us feel like that. Inner wisdom from a dream, what do we do with that? It's in our sight, just hold on tight, 'cause if you don't, it just might be right. Learn to accept, give up the fight. There may be a message in there. Is it working? Receive a gift for the taking if your heart's open now. You just fell and broke your phone, hard to remember to allow. This winding, rolling life unfolding with no instruction how. Just take a breath and clear your mind. Don't mind the ache in your behind. Don't be surprised at what you find. Maybe a message in there. Take it, leave it, give or receive it with your crazy running around. Keep your senses open, pick that penny up you found. The wheels are turning, gears are twirling, life's precious merry-go-round. It's the road we're on and what you bring to it. The past is past, thank God we're through it. The sun sets, rises, shines light through us. Maybe a message in there. There may be a message in there. Seasons shifting, time is ticking, hours into years. We step outside our comfort zone to overcome our fears. We wonder when the wisdom's come and light a candle, draw it near. It's just an art, a skill, a practice. Life twirls you around like the earth's axis. It can be a pain in your gluteus maximus. There may be a message in there. There may be a message in there. There may be a message in there. There may be a message in there.
We're going to the land of milk and honey, where you don't need no money. Talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide, where your imagination can run free, you can realize all your dreams. We're talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide. Everything you want is already there. Whatever you desire, it will appear. Oh yeah, yeah. We'll be living in heaven here on earth, experience life for all it's worth. We're talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide. But what you believe you can achieve, let go our horses run free. We're talking about the journey deep inside, with infinite spirit as a guide. Everything you want is already there. Whatever you desire, it will appear. Oh yeah, we're going to the land of you don't need no money. Infinite spirit, your imagination can run free, and you can realize all your dreams. Talking about the journey, Oh, let the spirit be your guide, oh, let the spirit be your guide, oh, let the spirit be your guide. Oh, let the spirit be your guide, oh, let the spirit be your guide, oh, let the spirit be your guide. I'm talking about the inward journey. 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 We're living in heaven here on earth. They're talking about the journey. They're talking about the journey and what you believe you can achieve. Talking about the journey deep inside. Talking about the journey. Talking about the journey. Yeah. You don't need no money. Talking about the land of milk and honey. Everything you want is already there. We've been living in heaven here on earth. Yes, we will.
Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and welcome to another fabulous Sunday morning. My name is Reverend Kris Alexander. I'm the senior minister here at Celebration Center for Spiritual Living, and we are serving the global community from Falls Church, Virginia. I am extra super duper excited about today's service today because we are doing Stump the Minister. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Some people have been sending me questions already and they are so good. This is going to be such a rich discussion and conversation. So this is not Stump the Minister like trivia questions. This is Stump the Minister like, what is that question that you've always wanted to ask your minister about science of mind or spirituality or life or any of those types of topics? What have you always wanted to know and never had the chance to ask? Now is your opportunity. So get those questions brewing in your minds, and we are going to have Stump the Minister today. In addition, we have our music director, Lynn Hollyfield, here, and joining with her is Nancy Newman. So let's give them a round of applause. And what's extra exciting is I told y'all a couple of weeks ago that Lynn wrote a book. Well, she says she wrote a song, but she wrote a book that's also a song, or a song that's also a book, or a song story. There we go. And so this is it. It's called The Tree, the Ship, and Me. Song story by Lynn Hollyfield and paintings by Lona Powell. So today, after the Stump the Minister portion of the service, Lynn is going to be singing the song, and I'm going to be following along with the words and pictures in the book. So I'm super excited about this. As you can see, absolutely beautiful artwork. You can buy this anywhere that you would normally buy books. Amazon, Barnes & Noble, all those places that you normally get books. It's great. It comes with a download version of the song. This is an awesome thing for your kids, your grandkids, the neighbor kids, the school down the road, whatever it may be. This Thursday, our new visioning class is starting. Y'all, I am so excited. If you have not signed up for this class, you are going to want to. It is such a cool opportunity. Reverend Russell Highland from Unity of Fairfax and I are partnering on this class, and we were doing some work together on it last week, and I just had this moment of being like, wow, I am learning so much from him, and he said the same thing, that he's learning so much from me. So this is going to be a really cool class where you're getting unity teachings and flavor and science of mind teachings and flavor all mixed into one. Then you're getting Reverend Russell's take on things. You're getting my take on things. It's just going to be a really cool experience. So I invite you to sign up for that. The class is on Zoom, so you can take it from anywhere, and you can visit that QR code that was just up on the screen a moment ago if you had an opportunity to scan that, or just go to celebrationcenter.org and you can see there where you can sign up, or you can go to that bit.ly link, bit.ly /Unity CCSL Visioning. All of those are going to get you to the sign up. You must pre-register for this class. And like I said, it's going to be a phenomenal opportunity. I'm super excited about it. Lutheran Social Services, this month we are collecting lip balm and laundry detergent. So I invite you to get your lip balm, get your laundry, your unused lip balm, get somebody else's lip balm. Go to the store and get lip balm. Don't get your lip balm out of your cabinet and dust the dust off. Get new lip balm, new laundry detergent. Bring it in. We will be giving those to Lutheran Social Services, who are supporting people in need all over the DC area, especially refugees from Ukraine, Afghanistan, South America, all kinds of different places. And if you are excited about the yearly theme of Live Out Loud, the book of the year this year is Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. And so I have decided to read that out loud on YouTube. So if you wanted somebody else to read this book to you, this is a great opportunity for you. It's one essay at a time by Ernest Holmes, and you can find that at my personal YouTube page, Reverend Kris Alexander. So feel free to check that out. And let's see, what else do I have? Oh, of course. So I introduced our music director and Nancy Newman, and also our practitioner on platform today is actually our minister, our practitioner support minister, Reverend Lydia Joy Ayers. So I'm super excited to have Reverend Lydia Joy doing the practitioner duties today. Let's give her a round of applause as well. And if you are new, if this is your first time joining us, an extra special welcome to you. Please feel free, whoever you are, whether you're new or not, to say hello and good morning in the chat, and especially say good morning if you're open to it, if you're new. You can also, we would love for you to fill out a guest card, and you can do that by scanning the code or by going to bit.ly/CCSL guest. That guest card is just going to support us in getting to know you a little more and how we can support you. And finally, if you would like to put in a prayer request for our ministry of prayer as well as our practitioners and ministers for this week, you can do that by going to celebrationcenter.org and clicking on request affirmative prayer. And we invite you to do that. Our ministry of prayer meets every Monday at 1:30 and prays on all of those prayer requests, and then we pray on them throughout the week as well. And with all of that, I would like to invite Nancy and Lynn up for our opening song.
Thank you. Good morning. Please sing along with us. We're going to do Everything is Music by Kim Delmhorst, and it's based on a Rumi poem. Well, we've come to the place where everything is music. Everything is music. Everything is music. Yeah, we've come to the place where everything is music. Everything is music, let it play. Tell me, why do you stay in jail when the door is wide open? The door is wide open. The door is wide open. Tell me, why do you stay in jail when the door is wide open? Let the beauty that you love be what you do. Stop your talking now and open up the window, the one right there in the middle of your heart. Let go your hands and step into the circle. You know you've got no reason to keep yourself apart. Well, the day you wake up sad and empty, don't go back to sleep. No, no, don't go back to sleep. Oh no, don't go back to sleep. Well, the day you wake up sad and empty, don't go back to sleep. Now, there's a million ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Don't worry now about saving all these songs. There's so many more just waiting to be found. All these instruments should disappear, we'll still hear something coming up from way down in the ground. Well, to the place where everything is music. Everything is music. Everything is music. Yes, we've come to the place where everything is music. Everything is music, let it play. Everything is music, let it play. Everything is music, let it play.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Reverend Lydia Joy Ayers. I'm happy to be here with you today. And I'm happy to bring you into some spiritual practice this morning. I invite you to enter this sacred time in our service with a 3-part breath. As we breathe together, we are remembering our oneness, synchronizing together as the beloved community that spans across the globe, and recognizing the unique gifts we each bring. So I'm going to guide you in 3 breaths. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do that 2 more times. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out 1, 2, 3, 4. You can guide yourself in your breathing for the rest of the service. And please join me in saying our vision statement together. We are celebrating spirit within and knowing the oneness of humanity. Right. Today's reading also comes from Rumi. I guess Lynn and I were on the Rumi train together. This is part of a poem titled The Cat Burglar. Lo, I am with you always means when you look for God, God is in the look of your eyes, in the thought of looking, nearer to you than yourself or things that have happened to you. There's no need to go outside. Be melting snow. Wash yourself of yourself. And we'll have a short centering before we do our prayer this morning. So I invite you just to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel how you're supported by your chair. Feel the ground beneath your feet or the chair beneath your legs. As you deepen your breath and bring your awareness to the present moment. Allow everything else, any of your worries or concerns, to-do lists, things you need to get ready for the week, all of that busyness to just fall away and simply relax into the now. And just like a few moments ago, guide yourself in 2 nice deep breaths in silence, and then I'll lead us in prayer. So how good it is to know that there is only one thing happening, which I know as God. That there is one power and one presence, one truth, one deepness, one stillness, one love, one perfect mind happening everywhere all at once, out beyond the furthest reaches of what I can imagine and compressing itself right here, right now, down into this moment. Down into the body that I call mine, down into who I am referring to when I say I and me, and down into each and every one of us gathered in this service. For what I know is that we are all reflections of, we're all concentrations of, we are all part and parcel of the divine happening the way it wants to, showing up to experience itself in all of its fullness. And how good it is to know that Celebration Center for Spiritual Living is part of this fullness, is part of this truth, is part of this divine expression. And so knowing this, I know perfect health upon each person gathered here, knowing that there is only one wholeness, one health in existence. I know it manifests in each and every one of us here. I know perfect prosperity and abundance through each person gathered and through Celebration CSL. Knowing that divine givingness and divine flow is happening now. I know that all relationships, both within and without this center, are marked by love, by patience, by compassion, by tolerance, by that perfect divine inkling of God winking at God, God saying hello to itself. So I know that each of us touched by this center, each of our relationships in and out of the center are living out their fullest purpose. And the highest and best is visited upon each of us, upon Celebration CSL, upon every life touched by this service in an exponential, always increasing ripple. And with deep gratitude for this truth, with deep gratitude for the way that God shows up, the way that God is always God's self, I simply let it be. And so it is.
I'm going to share a song that I thought might pair with the Stump the Minister theme for today's service. So my questions, my homework's in this song, Reverend Kris. This is called There May Be a Message in There. Intuition, superstition, premonition, yep. Sensing, knowing something's flowing and make us feel like that. Inner wisdom from a dream, what do we do with that? It's in our sight, just hold on tight, 'cause if you don't, it just might be right. Learn to accept, give up the fight. There may be a message in there. Receive a gift for the taking if your heart's open now. But you just fell and broke your phone, hard to remember to allow. This winding, rolling life unfolding with no instruction how. Just take a breath and clear your mind. Don't mind the ache in your behind. Don't be surprised at what you find. There may be a message in there. Take it, leave it, give or receive it with your crazy running round. Keep your senses open, pick that penny up you found. The wheels are turning, gears are twirling, life's precious merry-go-round. It's a road we're on and what you bring to it. The past is past, thank God we're through it. The sun sets, rises, shines light through us. There may be a message in there. There may be a message in there. Seasons shifting, time is ticking, hours into years. We step outside our comfort zone to overcome our fears. We wonder when the wisdom's come and light a candle, draw it near. It's just an art, a skill, a practice. Life twirls you around like the earth's axis. It can be a pain in your gluteus maximus. There may be a message in there. There may be a message in there. There may be a message in there. There may be a message in there.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that was answers, not questions. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. So here's how this is going to work. As you can see, I brought Ernest with me to help me out. And so I actually have two lifelines. Y'all remember that show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? I have two lifelines. I have Phone a Friend and I have Ask Ernest. So if I get stumped, I do have some outs. So hopefully I'll be a millionaire by the end of this. That would be great. All right, so what's the first question? Yes, Janine. Just shout it out and we'll holler it back. Okay.
So it's current events, and I follow a few science and mind ministers on Facebook.
Mhm.
And when this video came out on Friday, the meeting in Memphis that led to Teddy's death,
Mhm.
Reverend Jim Lockhart said, "You don't have to watch the video."
Mhm.
And Reverend David Alexander said, "I did watch the video because I needed to And there's a part where you, he said, I don't know how to react. And my question is, how are you reacting? And how is how's the Science Mind Church?
Oh man, so Janine just went there just right off the bat. So so she said she wants to know about current events, and she's specifically talking about the video that came out on Friday of Tyrese being beaten to death by police officers, and that there have been a lot of comments by a lot of ministers on you need to watch the video, you don't need to watch the video, I watched the video, I didn't watch the video, I don't know what to say, all of that. And so her question basically was, what is my response and what does Science of Mind say? Oh, well that, and what do we do about the whole thing? Oh. Yeah, those are really big questions. So first of all, I saw that whole chain from, it was Reverend Jim Lockhart who said you don't have to watch the video. And then other people said, yeah, then there was a whole lot of commentary. And I have to admit that when I first saw his post of you don't have to watch the video, I cringed. Not because I think that everybody needs to watch the video. And I think actually probably not, but rather because it felt to me like then people could have an out to not know what was going on. Well, that's over there and I can just turn and look over here. I don't need to pay attention to what's happening. So I actually really appreciate it. Later on, 50 some odd comments later, he said, no, you don't need to watch the video, but you do need to do so. You do need to be informed. You do need to do something about it. And that I agree with. I think what can happen when videos like these come out is that we get caught up in what's called trauma porn, where we like to be involved in the drama and the trauma of it. And that's what that video can create. And so oftentimes the video is not necessarily helpful in creating action. And so I think it's for each individual to decide if the video is theirs to watch, if that's something that's going to be supportive of action, because that is what we are being called to, is action. And so then it's kind of this question of what is mine to do. So for me personally, I cannot speak for what is anybody else's to do, because it's just heartbreaking, really. I mean, what it really boils down to is it's heartbreaking. And it's heartbreaking that in America, we have this system of brutality in place that allows for this to continue to happen over and over and over, specifically to our Black men in our country. I think it's very interesting that this was a group of Black men, because it shines light on the brutality and the brokenness of the system, of the police system. I think that there's more to be done there. I don't have the answers. I have my personal opinions on what I think the answers should be. But our tagline is creating a world that works for everyone. And so what I would say is, whether you watch the video or not, it is your job to be informed of what is happening in our country, on this planet, to people who don't look like us, think like us, act like us, have the same culture as us. It's our job to know what's happening and to understand that systemic oppression is a thing, to understand that racism is a thing, to understand that privilege is a thing, and to then say, what is mine to do in that? How can I use, if I come from a place of privilege, which I think we all have places that we are privileged and places that we are not. So it's not saying you're privileged, you had no problems, right? But rather you did not have the additional problems that not having this privilege would have caused you, right? But it's our job to say, how can I use the place and position that I'm in to support people in having a world that works for them? Because I would say that this world did not work for Tyrese or his family or anybody else who's having these challenges, right? The world is not working for a lot of people. And so what is mine to do to create a world that works for everyone and to step into that action? But we can't step into action if we don't know what is going on that we're stepping in action, or moving away from or going towards. And so it is our responsibility to be informed, to do our research, to be educated, to learn from people who have different life experiences, different religions, different races, different cultures, different identities, different orientations. It is our job to learn from those people and then to believe the experiences that they're having so that we know what action can look like. That is what I would say to that. And I would also say that I generally don't respond to those things on Facebook because it just feels like it fuels this fire of just the ness of it, and it's just so heartbreaking that I tend to kind of go within and just be like, wow, this is, and just feel the feelings of it. So that is what I would say to that. Janine, you started us off with with a big one right there. What is next? Oh, there's lots of comments. All right. Yes, I'm ready for one. Oh, we'll do one from back here, and then Richard, you'll be next, okay? What does science of mind say about death? Good Lord, y'all. What does science of mind say about death? Well, Ernest Holmes believed that we are all individualized expressions of spirit and that our soul is ever continuing on. And so death, I actually like the way that Anne Lamott says it. She's not science of mind, but I think she sums it up. She basically says, death is a radical change of address. And so we continue on. What Ernest believed in Science of Mind is that the soul continues on into its next expression, its next journey. We don't have any clue what that is, but that we ever continue on as this individualized expression of spirit, that there is an individualized piece of us that continues. Richard.
Yes, I think the philosophy of the church was that there's not good and evil, but there's ignorance and knowledge. Is that true? I think there is good and evil.
So,
But, you can call it ignorance. I think that's what years ago I
so you're asking, is there good and evil? Or is it ignorance or knowledge, or what about all of that, basically? Is that the question? Okay, so Richard said that Science of Mind says there's no good and evil, there's just ignorance and knowledge. And basically, what do I think about that? And how does that play out? That's a good one too, Richard. I feel like I should have read a lot more Ernest in the last week to prepare for this. So yes, so we say that there is no such thing as good and evil because it's all oneness. So we believe that there's only one thing going on, this one thing that we call by all of these different names, God or Buddha or Allah or Abba or whatever we call it, spirit, divine, source, sacred, whatever, that there's only one thing going on. And so if there's only one thing, there can't be a something else against it, right? If there were two things, then the infinite wouldn't be infinite and the whole thing would just fall apart. Because the infinite can only be the infinite if there's only one infinite. There can't be two infinites, right? So that is the reason why there is not good and evil. Now, that is a very big picture perspective. So it's sort of this idea of if I cause you harm, yes, that appears like evil or harm or violence or whatever it is. And so I think in this human experience that we're having, there are things that appear as good or evil or bad or wrong or right. But when we pull our perspective out, and if we look at the bigger, if we were to look at, if I were to like push you down in the foyer, I won't, I promise. But, if I were to push you down in the foyer, you might feel like I caused you harm or I was being evil. But if we like zoom out to the greater galaxy perspective, there might be a bigger perspective. Or we might discover that I pushed you down because a ceiling tile was about to fall on your head and and you didn't know that, and so I pushed you down, but really I was saving you, or whatever it may be. And so it's like when we pull out that bigger perspective, that sort of Rumi idea, apparently Rumi is in the ethers today, of there's no wrongdoing or right doing. It's out beyond that. And I think that we can get so caught up in this, like, there's nothing right or wrong, there's no good or bad or all of that, that when things happen that are very obviously against a world that works for everyone, against this idea of life that we talk about, then we can have this sort of like, I'm just going to take the bigger perspective. But no, in this human experience, we have experiences of good things happening and bad things happening. There is trauma, there is abuse, there is all kinds of things that happen that appear evil, even if there's not some infinite expression of evil, that is ours to step into action and stand up for whatever the other would be in that experience. Ed.
I like acronyms,
Okay.
and one of my favorites is KISS.
Okay.
It stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid.
That's what I've always heard too. So KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
I
Yes.
have a simple question for you.
Okay.
What was Ernest Holmes' birthday?
Ernest Holmes' birthday was January 21st, 1887. Little help from the back, but I did know the birthday. I just didn't know his exact year that he was born. January 21st. He just had his 136th birthday. I guess I could have done the math. What's next? Oh, what is the definition of spiritual bypass? Oh, see, now I can just climb right up on my soapbox. So Rev Ryan and I, my spouse, actually did a whole 2-part series for ministers and practitioners on spiritual bypass. So spiritual bypass is when you use spiritual teachings to bypass your challenges, obstacles, emotions, problems, feelings, all of that. So it would be, of course, all examples just went flying out of my mind. Oh, Ryan wants me to phone a friend. Okay, I'm going to phone a friend. Come on, Ryan. Apparently my soapbox was not very boxy today. Yeah, do the video. I'm phoning a friend. Yeah. Come on up while the video is playing. Yes, I'm phoning a friend. Well, that's what you get for being the peanut gallery in the back.
I think a common one that we hear a lot, especially in this teaching, is when people are sharing like maybe a traumatic experience or a challenging experience, and then sometimes we may respond, well, something good's going to come out of that. And so I think sometimes when we say things like that, we bypass the very real experiences that people are having. And so sometimes, or not sometimes, it's important to be able to sit with people, listen with people in those experiences. And then instead of bypassing them by saying, oh, it's all good, or something's good going to happen, or it's all good, it's all God, all those sort of bypassy things. And sometimes we do that because we're uncomfortable with people's discomfort, and it makes us uncomfortable. And also it makes us realize, oh, that type of stuff could happen to me too. And so we want to bypass that. And so that's a common one that I hear. Something good will happen. That's not necessarily something that someone wants to hear when they're going through a challenging experience. That would be one of my examples.
That was like a half-answered phone a friend. That was like when you phone a friend and they're like, oh, God, I don't know. But yes, that was a very good example, honey. So it's any time that we get uncomfortable, and so we try to bypass. And we do this to each other, right? When somebody says, oh, I have this really hard thing that's happening to me, and we go, oh, something good's happening here, or God willed this for you, or if somebody passes away in our life and it's really traumatic, heaven needed another angel. That would be a spiritual bypass. We hear it more in the Christian faith, but still, I have heard it in Science of Mind. But all of those things where it's like, just stop having your feelings about it, or I don't want to look at the problem. Like even I would say bypass could be, I'm still getting peanut gallery answers in the back. I think another example would be letting financial troubles pile up over and over and just saying, well, it'll work itself out. God's in the finances and it'll be fine, instead of doing the work to look at what's going on, right? And so it's anything that allows us, it's any spiritual teaching that allows us to bypass what's really happening in our lives. And so just think positive. That's a really big one. And I saw this really cool thing the other day that said, the opposite of positivity, or the opposite of negativity, isn't positivity, it's warmth. And so when somebody is having something happen, instead of just think positive, it's all going to work out, it's all okay, God's going to do something amazing, or there's a pony in here somewhere. If you have a pile of crap, just keep shoveling because there's got to be a pony in there somewhere, right? But but instead it's warmth. It's opening your heart to that person, saying, wow, that's really hard. Tell me more about that. How are you feeling? How are you handling this? What can I do to support you? And I think Rev Ryan's exactly right that it's hard for us to do that, because if we acknowledge that thing is happening to that person, then it opens up our vulnerability of, oh, well, that could happen to me too. And so we have to get really comfortable with just really, really comfortable with the crap of life. Life is hard sometimes, and that's okay. Okay, sure. Can anyone do treatment, or is it just practitioners or someone with training? Great question. Anybody can do treatment, because treatment is just affirmative prayer. It is a style of affirmative prayer. And so anybody can pray. And so I'm going to line this question up with a question that somebody said to me in passing throughout the week, and wasn't an official question, which is, what is the purpose of treatment or of affirmative prayer? And so the purpose of spiritual mind treatment, the reason we call it a treatment, is because we are treating our own mind to know the truth. And so anytime, by that definition, anytime that you're doing any sort of affirmations or affirmative prayer, anything like that, is a treatment. It might not be a 5-step spiritual mind treatment like we teach in Science of Minds, but that's still you treating your mind to know the truth of oneness. And so anybody can practice spiritual mind treatment. There are several books out there which I can recommend to you, not off the top of my head, but I am happy to recommend books. And yeah, have at it. The steps are to recognize that there is only one thing going on, to understand if there's only one thing going on, that you must be that too. We all must be that too. We are that individualized spirit. Then to realize whatever you are treating for, to realize your health, your prosperity, your abundance, your relationship, health, whatever it is, your career, your purpose, anything, and then to give gratitude for that which is already yours in the mind of God, and simply release and surrender it out. Anybody can do that. Have at it. Treat away. Sure. Any questions in the room?
I'll ask another.
Okay, Janine has another question.
So, someone who's not in this teaching, do you think that a treatment can look like spiritual bypass to them?
So Janine said, to someone who's not in this teaching, do you think that treatment could look like spiritual bypass? Yes, and I think that actually treatment can often be used as spiritual bypass. And the difference is that we say treat and move your feet. And so a treatment is, let's take the example of just letting your finance troubles pile up again. If every day I wake up and I treat, I am abundant and prosperous, I have no financial troubles, all is well in my life, but then you don't do anything, then nothing is going to shift in that experience. And yes, there are miracles, and sometimes, you get a windfall of money or whatever it is, but in general, we forget the move your feet part, and that is the part that moves it from spiritual bypass into action. And so a treatment is a very specific, so if somebody were to come to me and say, oh my God, I've let this pile up for a decade, I don't know what to do, I'm so stressed, all of that, I would not only treat for their abundance and their prosperity, but I would also treat that they have all of the right people in their lives. They find the exact right financial advisor that can support them in clearing all of this up, that they know how to handle this, that they have all of the paperwork that they need, that they feel calm and at peace so that they can step into it with a clear mind, that the stress of it is removed so that they can actually handle it. And so it becomes more than just, I'm going to treat and then go sit in front of my TV and ignore the problem again. Bypass, and that's, that in our class that we taught together, that's what we often found, is that bypass and spiritual truth can look very similar on the surface of it, but it's all about the underlying what's the word? Experience and motive, intent, yes, the underlying motive of it. And so, there can be a time and a place where spiritual truths are exactly what is necessary, but we can't use those spiritual truths to bypass. So in that Buddhist concept of near enemies, spiritual bypass would be the near enemy of spiritual truth. They can look very similar on the surface, but once you get underneath, the spiritual bypass really doesn't feel good. Okay, yes, what's next? What is Christ consciousness? Oh, yes. So, once again, if we're operating in a framework of oneness, which we do in Science of Minds, that there is only one thing going on, and therefore we must be that individualized expression of the one, then Christ consciousness is that aspect of us that remembers that truth. And so what we say, and I know this is going to actually answer another question too, but that's fine. So Jesus, we call Jesus the great example rather than the great exception. So in Christian teaching, Jesus was, the Son of God, and he came here to save us from ourselves, basically, right? But in our teaching, we say that Jesus was a great example. He said, all these things ye shall do and more, right? And so he was somebody who figured out how to live from his Christ consciousness all of the time. So he was Jesus the Christ, right? And so we can be Kris the Christ, Janine the Christ, Ed the Christ, Richard the Christ, Nancy the Christ, right? We all have that Christ consciousness within us, and we can either be operating and expressing from that Christ consciousness, or maybe not. Maybe we're operating from a place that is forgotten. We are not aware of our Christ consciousness. And so it's not about being more or less conscious or more or less Christ-like, but rather how aware are we of who we are. We simply are Christ consciousness. And so opening your awareness to that and then living from that truth. We have time for 2 more questions. Yep, sure. What is the law of attraction with a definition and examples? So, actually, I want to answer this in conjunction with the other one that she asked, the difference between law of cause and effect. Will you read just that whole series of questions, actually? What is the law of cause and effect? Definition and examples. How are the laws of cause and effect and law of attraction different? And then what is the law of attraction and definition? So, the law of cause and effect is basically that every effect has a cause, right? Simple enough. So if I push Richard down, because apparently this is the example we're now going with, darling, I love you so much, I won't push you down. But if I push him down, he's going to fall over, right? If I push somebody, they're going to fall over. If I pick up the phone's going to come through the air with my hand, or whatever it may be. So that is all the law of cause and effect is that for every effect, there must be a cause. And for every cause, there is some kind of effect. The law of attraction is simply one way to teach the law of cause and effect. So the law of attraction states that whenever you think about something, that you are attracting it into your life. I don't super love the law of attraction the way that we tend to teach it in all of our New Thought teachings, not just Science of Minds, because it's oversimplified. It's this idea of if you just think positive, and this is where bypass often comes in, is that the law of attraction so often has taught us that if you think negatively, or if you have a negative, which all of that is perception, right? Emotion, that you're creating and causing and bringing more of that into your life. But actually, that's not true. So the law of attraction is your system of beliefs, the whole way that you think, the way that you move through your world, your habits, your behaviors, your actions. All of that is the cause that is affecting the outcome and outpicturing of your life. And then we take it one step further to say, I don't live in a vacuum. So by simply being here in the room with y'all, all of my actions, beliefs, thinking, behaviors, habits are affecting all of y'all, and all of y'all's habits and effects or habits and behaviors and actions and habits and beliefs and all of that are affecting me. And so it's a lot messier than just think a positive thought, have a positive outcome, right? And so often that's the way the law of attraction is taught, is if you think about a red Mazda, all of a sudden one's gonna appear in your driveway, but it's so much more than that. And so yeah, I got lost. I got a little lost in all of that. But the law of cause and effect, I would say both of them are true and accurate, but we tend to simplify the law of attraction down in such a way that it not only doesn't work necessarily, but also can actively cause spiritual bypass. One more question. What is the final question going to be? Are there any more? Okay, Lynn has the final question, everyone. No pressure.
Kind of going back to Janine's first question, like, not that there's no formula out there, but like, what steps could be
Oh
taken
gosh.
to try to help that situation not occur again? Or like, I know that's like a really hard question, but it's always, I'm always left like just like, what can I do?
So Lynn is full circling right back to Janine's first question about the situation. Really where in general, I'm going to generalize it out to not the specific instance, but to the fact that people, particularly Black men, but people continue to get murdered by the police now, often on video, and it still is continuing to happen. And so Lynn's question is, what actually can we as individuals do? And that is a really tough question because it's A, going to be different for all of us, and B, it's a systematic problem. It's systemic. It's not one individual. I wouldn't even say, like, yes, those individuals, like those 5 police officers, of course, they are responsible for their own actions, and they are operating in a system that allows that type of behavior, that trains them to be afraid of a specific type of person and a specific type of situation. And so I would say, some of the actions, I would say, gosh, and this is not a comprehensive list by any means, and not even necessarily all appropriate for everyone, but I would say the very first thing that we have to do is to uncover and reveal our own unconscious biases that we personally have. And the reality is that we all have unconscious bias, period. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care what your sexual orientation is, your gender identity, your culture, your race, where you grew up, who you grew up with. Everybody has unconscious bias, and that is bias against or for people, a specific type of situation or group of people who look like you, don't look like you, whatever, that is unconscious. And that is the key. It is unconscious. We don't know that it's in there. And what happens is something like this happens, and that's where our unconscious bias crops up. So something happens and we go, well, what did he do to deserve that? When really the reality is that nobody deserves to be beaten to death in the street by 5 police officers, period. I don't care what they've done. Nobody deserves that. And so when that thought crops up, we go, oh, that's an unconscious bias. That's something that just popped into my head. I'm not wrong for having that, but it is mine to look at and say, no, the truth is that nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that, right? And so when those unconscious biases crop up, when we see the way somebody looks on the street corner asking for money, and we automatically lock the doors of the car, we stop and we ask ourselves, why? Why did I do that? What is my unconscious bias that makes me feel like that person isn't safe? Is it because they're dirty? Is it because I've decided that they must be unhoused and therefore unsafe to be around? Do they look like somebody I think would steal something? And actually, we don't know that any of those things are true, right? And so we begin to unpack our own unconscious biases. Now, you can do that by simply noticing and becoming aware of your own, how you're behaving, what your intentions are, ask yourself why all the time. Why did I just do that? Why did I just do that? Why did I just do that? That's one way. Another way is to read and to watch. Watch documentaries, read books by people who have written. I mean, there are so many books written by so many people who have been doing this work for their whole lives because they've had no choice. And so read books from people and learn about the things that we don't know about. Even things like when somebody tells you something happened to them, do you automatically believe them, or you go, that it must have happened different from nobody, that wouldn't actually happen to you? Or do we believe them and say, wow, I didn't know that that could happen to a person. What is it about you that made somebody feel that that was okay? Do I have that same unconscious bias? So that is the first and foremost thing. But then we don't stop there. So as we uncover our own unconscious biases, then it is our job to look and discover what the politicians are that we're putting into all of our government systems, local, state, national. What are their unconscious biases? Are those unconscious biases ones that we feel are okay to put into positions of power? I can't tell you if that's true or not, but for you, what is that person's positions? And if that person is harming another group of people that doesn't affect me, caring enough to say, that isn't okay with me. Right? And so we do things like that. We, for Lynn, as a music folk, right, you might write songs or use your platform, the next time you have a concert to speak up about it. I would use my platform to say all of these things that I'm saying right now, right? I know Janine gave an amazing anti-racism talk in one of her Toastmasters groups that was just like mind-blowingly good. It's getting bystander training, which we're actually look at bringing to the center. And when you see those things offered, actually take the bystander training so that when you see something happening on the street or when you see somebody behaving in a way towards another person that's unacceptable, you actually know what to do. You actually know how to stand up for that person. So it's all of those little things. And then as we change ourselves and as we begin to change the people who are in these systems, then the systems themselves can change as well. Advocate for more training, advocate for more, good Lord, my brain is not working with these words. Advocate for more accountability in all sorts of areas, not just with police, but in all sorts of areas. More accountability with our politicians, more accountability with our government workers, more accountability with our ministers, more accountability with everyone who are in positions of power and leadership. And then as we begin to change these individuals and change these systems in these little ways, then they happen in bigger and bigger ways. So that was a long answer to that word for you. Bottom line, read a book by a person who is different from you that you have never read before. I would suggest Me and White Supremacy by Layla Saad. Amazing, amazing, amazing book. That would be my first suggestion. And then don't stop there. Keep going. Listen to podcasts. There's so many things to do to educate ourselves. All right. With all of that, let's invite Lynn up for her next song. Thank you, guys. This is a really successful Stump the Minister, I think. I so appreciate y'all. And there were so many good questions. I feel like we should probably do this more often because y'all have good questions and good thoughts. And it is mildly terrifying for me, so it gets me out of my comfort zone, which is good.
But we didn't stop you.
You didn't stump me. There were a couple moments where I was like a little deer in headlights, but I don't feel like I was overly stumped. That's probably a good thing. Just saying.
That's really good.
All right, so
All right, so on a total flip side, yeah, very different feel. I'm gonna share this song. I wrote because I never had a tree house and I always wanted one. And I married a carpenter and I still never got one. So maybe one day, maybe one day still. So I wrote it in a song. So here we go. The Tree, the Ship, and Me. Whoop. This tree's got a lot of arms that hold me tight when I'm alone sometimes. The tree, she sets me free. The wind lifts the leaves into a sail. I hold on tight to the rail of the tree. On the ship, on the sea. We're never really quite alone. There's mermaids, whales, and chanty songs, and a million stars that keep me company. We sing together with the wind. We sail to lands we've never been. In the tree, on the ship, on the sea. Some people see a mighty oak leaves waving in the breeze. My sea legs feel a ship afloat, sailing the seven seas. She's broad and stout, she's grand and fine. She's become the very best friend of mine. The tree, the ship, and me. Sometimes we hit a hurricane. The ship, she's tight in wind and rain. We sail past the sharks and pirates too. With the hurdy-gurdy we make up songs about the time when we'll be home on the tree, on the ship, on the sea. Some people see her mighty oak leaves waving in the breeze. My sea legs feel a ship afloat, sailing the seven seas. She's broad and stout, she's grand and fine. She's become the very best friend of mine. The tree, the ship, and me. There's a fiddle part in there. One summer night, beneath the stars, wondering just where I are, I felt akin to a pirate on the sea. Har, as my stomach growls and hunger neared, I heard a call. It's supper, dear, in the tree, on the ship, on the sea. We eat our grub, the galleys close, the sun has gone to sleep. The sails are low, we batten down till our next sail at sea. She's broad and stout, she's grand and fine. She's become the very best friend of mine. The tree, the ship, and me. The tree, the ship, and me. The tree, the ship, and me. Thank you so much, everyone.
books, wherever your books are sold, get it.
Thank you.
So this is the time in our service for our gifts, our offerings, our tithes, and just knowing that your presence here, your questions, your curiosity, the way that you show up to this community is a blessing, is a gift. And if you have a monetary donation of some sort, we will gratefully accept those as well, knowing that that is what keeps the building running, keeps the lights on, keeps us all here able to come back Sunday after Sunday. And all week long, we have events all week long. Check it out on Celebration celebrationcenter.org. And so there are several different ways you can give. If you're here in the room, feel free to give in the basket. You can also scan this QR code or go to this link, or just simply go to celebrationcenter.org and click on the give button. And now I invite you to bring your hands into your heart with all of that good stuff that you are giving as we invite Reverend Lydia Joy back into the room for an affirmation and an offering.
Thank you. So please join me in saying our offertory affirmation together out loud. The gift I give is God in action. I give it in joy. I give it in love. I give in faith. I give knowing that I am blessed, and so I gratefully give. And so, just as we have done all morning, knowing that there's only ever one thing happening, which I call God, which I call divine, which goes by many names, I know that one great power, that one great abundance, that one great love blesses and multiplies all of these gifts, all gifts of time, talent, and treasure, all gifts of thoughts and love, all gifts financial and otherwise are blessed, are multiplied, are put toward the best and highest use for Celebration CSL, for the DC community, and for the world. And so it is.
And sing this song. I hope you sing along at home. A Light in the World by Donna Michael. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are the light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright.
Yes, we shine so bright. And so I invite you after the service at 12:30, we have our community discussion on science of mind principles. And I actually threw it on the floor, but if you are here in the room, or if you'd like us to mail you one, just let us know in the chat. But we have the science of mind practices and principles on fun little bookmarks for you. So you can grab that over on the table, or like I said, just drop it in the chat. Or if we don't have your mailing address, go to that bit.ly/CCSL guest and fill out that guest card so we have your address and we'll send you one. And with all of that, I invite you to repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening right now. I am one with the universe. I am infinite and eternal. I am loved and blessed. I am grateful for the new year. And so it is.